I believe the most significant factor that fueled the new imperialism was the thirst for new markets. Imperialism is the policy under which stronger nations extend their economic, political, or military control over weaker territories. The U.S. overtook many territories, such as the Philippines and Cuba, using military and trade tactics. Americans had always been looking to expand the size of their nation, and throughout the 19th century, they extended their control toward the Pacific Ocean to build strong trade routes. For example, the Panama Canal was a shortcut that greatly reduced the time for ships to travel between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans for trade between other countries. By the 1800s, American leaders took notice of European nations with imperialist power and sought to establish colonies overseas as well. In 1900, Senator Albert Beveridge made a speech to Congress outlining how trade is the cornerstone of American policy and emphasizing that Asia is the country's largest trade region. In Document 4, Beveridge states, "Our largest trade henceforth must be with Asia. The Pacific is our ocean, and the Pacific is the ocean of commerce in the future." In this instance, he is suggesting that America can lead the contemporary world in trade if the country embraces its inevitable dominance of the Pacific trade routes. Additionally, President McKinley, the president serving at the time of the Philippine-American War, explained to the U.S. Senate why he recommended Philippines annexation. The core of that argument also underscores the thirst for new markets. For example, in Document 9, he argues that we cannot turn them over to France and Germany, our commercial rivals in the Orient. That would be bad business and discreditable. Here, McKinley emphasizes the importance of the Philippines as the new market that would both uphold America's trade strength in the Pacific relative to its competitors and bolster the growth of its lucrative region. Another important driver behind the growth of America's imperialist reach is the belief in cultural superiority. America's leaders believed its population to be a pinnacle of moral civilization. McKinley showcases the prevalence of these beliefs in cultural superiority in a speech to the country's religious leaders. Again, in Document 9, he explains, "There was nothing left for us to do but to take them all, and to educate the Filipinos, and uplift and civilize and Christianize them, and by God's grace do the very best we could by them, as our fellow men for whom Christ also died." The Filipinos were already Christian, but since American leaders believed its constitutes superior to all other countries in terms of religious purity and education, he urges these religious figureheads to further civilize the populations of American imperial conquest. Furthermore, during this time in history, white men believed themselves to be better than any other race. This core belief is exemplified by a quote from the American Home Missionary Society. In Document 1, whites describe themselves as the representative, let us hope, of the largest liberty, the purest Christianity, and the highest civilization. This description demonstrates how whites in America viewed themselves as superior to any other race at home or abroad. As a consequence, American imperialist growth could serve the function of civilizing populations abroad while also capitalizing on lucrative trade routes.